So good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Namaste and a very warm welcome to all of you to the Blub World Web Talks 177th episode. In the last 176 episodes, we have talked to, interacted with nearly 3,000 plus school leaders on this very platform where they've shared their ideas, opinions, innovations, and what all new are they doing in the education space. तो नमस्कार, आप सभी का स्वागत है ब्लब वर्ल्ड वेब टॉक्स के 177वें एपिसोड में। पिछले 176 एपिसोड्स में हमने करीबन 3000 से ज्यादा स्कूल प्रिंसिपल से बातचीत करी है जानने के लिए कि वो शिक्षा के क्षेत्र में क्या नया कर रहे हैं और शिक्षा उनके साथ क्या नया कर रही है। बिकॉज सिंस द डे टेक्नोलॉजी केम इन, everyone and everything dramatically changed, and that drama was so big that it was not digestible in the beginning, and now we cannot imagine a life without it. तो अब इतनी सारा टेक्नोलॉजी इंट्रूजन जब हमारी जिंदगी में हो गया, तब हमारा जीवन, हमारा सोचने का तरीका सब कुछ बदल गया। एंड उस बदलाव के साथ हम कैसे बदले और हमारी एजुकेशन कैसे बदली, यही जानने की कोशिश करेंगे आज के इस 177th एपिसोड में। बिफोर वी स्टार्ट, the topic for today is something that is really super interesting and at the same time super controversial, because for a very simple reason, the schools never allowed technology to enter their doors, and at this moment the school is only in that screen, so you can't help it. The problem is you had to allow it because that was your lifeline and that has now become your lifeline. तो यहाँ पे we'll be taking opinions from the school leaders, from some expert, and most importantly इस पूरे change का final end consumer या customer या जिसे आप कहें the prime focus of this whole industry or the complete gamut of things, the teenager. और आज की fight happens between two things. One is the gaming end of it and the other is the reading end of it. और इन दोनों में से कौन जीतेगा ये हमारे आज के speakers बताएंगे. So a very warm welcome once again everyone to the Blub World Web Talks 177th edition. Before we start, just two things. Blub World Web Talks is a bilingual platform, so you can use English or Hindi, any of these two languages. If you want to use a third one, you can, but I won't get it. Secondly, this is a timed platform. Think of it as a speaking sprint, not as a marathon. So once your speaking time is over, you might get muted. If you get muted, please don't get offended. It's just to keep the activity crisp and engaging for everyone. So thank you so much everyone once again for joining in. Let's listen to our amazing speakers for today, that what do they think? Is it gaming versus reading? And दोनों में से क्या ज़्यादा benefit करेगा? Thank you so much everyone. Let me invite the first speaker for today. The first speaker comes from the startup ecosystem of things. Because the reason why I'm inviting them first is ये पूरा ecosystem has been built on the premise of technology. The way technology intruded, they also made some little space for themselves, and that little space is expanding with every single day. So what's their thought on gaming versus reading? A very warm welcome, Ms. Tania Kurve, the head of marketing for Finance Peer from Mumbai, Maharashtra. Tania ji, over to you for the next 3 minutes. Please unmute yourself and a very warm welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me for this discussion. I'm really honored to be a part of this session with all the esteemed panelists. And yes, congratulations on your 177th episode. It's a huge feat for you guys, of course. Now, without wasting the time of 5 minutes that has been given to me, let's come to the topic. Gaming versus reading, and do they benefit teenagers with cognition or school performance? Now, I come from a startup background, which is Finance Pure and Edu FinTech. Our entire model is based on consumers that are students and parents. And along with fee financing, we also have products and services that we have brought in, looking at how the behavior of students are changing in terms of learning. We had also come up with online courses, a gamified course learning platform for students and for schools to consume. The reason behind this was there are multiple researches done on the similar lines. Now, when the digital era came in and everything went technical, teachers and schools had to move into a digital zone. There was no chance of just giving the books and reading and writing things down. Now, when we, in the similar lines, if we talk about gaming versus reading, when we separate it, it sounds more like a categorical divide, whereas these two are simply mediums. That is how I see it, that these two are mediums and students may prefer one medium over the other. But from our perspective, which is better? Let's talk about that. Now, there have been previous researches done. One very famous research was done over 27,000 French students, where they were asked multiple questions, and their maths, logic, reasoning, and memory, all these things were connected to how much time they're spending on video games and how much time they're spending on reading. Now, where that research had concluded that video games do not have a specifically positive or negative impact on these students and encouraged parents to push students more towards reading, there are other sides of the story. Now, if I talk about gaming and reading, these two, when I say that these are mediums, the two common factors that affect the entire discussion is the content and the frequency at which it is consumed. Both gaming and books have different kind of contents. There are multiple genres in which it can be done. When it comes to content, there are schools outside. There's this one very particular game called Variant Limits. Yes. Sorry.
Thank you so much, Tanya ji. The time was over. So whenever you see the hand of Blub World coming up or me coming up, it's basically that you have the last 30 seconds to you. So thank you so much for initiating the roundtable. So let me take some of the important points that you talked about. First, most importantly, both of these are mediums of transferring information, education, knowledge, or wisdom, whatever we say. But most importantly, at the moment, medium has become more critical and important than the content. For a very simple reason, if the medium cannot hook you, you won't take the content. So that's the reason it has become important and critical, and that's why we are, talking on it. French research you quoted, which typically puts gaming in a negative light. So let's now hear it from the horse's mouth. That what do they think? पहले हम बच्चों की या टीनेजर्स की बात सुन लेते हैं, and then we'll go to the school leaders, जो उन्हें हर दिन कोई ना कोई लेसन जरूर दे रहे होते हैं, somewhere near technology or about technology. So let me invite the first teen speaker for the Blub World Web Talks 177th episode, Miss Ruhika Mishra from class 9 of Wockhardt Global School from Aurangabad, Maharashtra. Ruhika ji, over to you for the next 3 minutes. Please unmute yourself and let's see what do you have to say for gaming versus reading.
Hello everyone, warm greetings to one and all present over here. I am Ruhika Mishra and I study in grade 9 in Wockhardt Global School. Thank you so much for having me here today. I would like to share my thoughts with you all on gaming versus reading. Do they benefit teenagers with cognition or school performance? So I think all of us agree that after a busy day, we children do need downtime to rest and relax. Increasingly, our leisure time is spent on gaming, but then does it benefit us with cognition or school performance? Or would it be better off reading a book? So historical research shows in some cases that interactive gaming can have positive effects for cognition by promoting memory, attention, and reasoning. Other speed-oriented games have been shown to improve perceptions and motor skill. So should gaming for relaxation be encouraged? I have a reason for this. Leary et al. Investigated on the topic with an emphasis on gaming and reading. They link patterns of leisure activity with performance in phonology, reading comprehension, math, long-term memory, and reason. So fascinatingly, gaming, previously thought to improve fluid intelligence, showed little or no positive correlations to performance, while reading did, particularly in memory and comprehension. It seems then, despite lack of a causal link, that reading may be more likely to enhance academic performance. Further comparison of reading and gaming to most frequent leisure activities showed no negative patterns, but interestingly, reading had a favorable effect on performance. So I think frequent leisure activity is not necessarily harmful to progress or always at the expense of school performance, but it can surely be enriching. And saying it from my personal experience, I love reading books and surely it has boosted up my school performance. So to conclude, I would like to say that video games are mainly recreational activities and the cognitive simulation provided is very different from that of reading books. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rohika. I think you have also put gaming again in the role of the villain. So, kyunki game, it's good as a recreation, but it might not be actually helping you in your academics or your cognition. So, before I actually invite the next speaker, let's first listen to your own school leader. That what do they have to say about this? Because when their student advocates for reading, do they also advocate for it, or they think that there is some extra thing that gaming might be able to do? A very simple premise before I actually invite the school leader. There is a lot of money being spent on this. There's a lot of money being made on this. The global economy is looking at it as if this is the next juicy meal that they're going to get. Now, what do you think on it? When something so strong is happening, can you just negate it because you don't find some remedial or research-based empirical as of now? So let me have Ms. Uma Mohandas, the principal of Wockhardt Global School from Aurangabad, Maharashtra. Ma'am, 3 minutes, over to you. A very warm welcome.
Thank you, Daksh. So I'll take a page out of Ms. Tanya's this thing, what she spoke about, that she said that these are just mediums. Number one, that is true. Mediums are what children are going to look forward to at any point in their life, whether it is learning or whether it is their career or anything of that sort. But it also depends on how they are going to use that medium and what is it going to result in. We are looking at two things, cognition or school performance. Let me tell you, it is cognition and school performance, because school performance is not independent of cognition, and cognition is not independent of school performance. I think that should be very clear in our discussion right now, because cognition talks about anything to do with attention, it talks about memory, it talks about analysis, creativity, how you use information and application in everyday life. All of that is in cognition. Now, what happens in school learning? We are doing the same thing. We are teaching concepts. We are asking them to listen, focus, attend. Sometimes we have to memorize. At other times we have to apply. And the final result is always creativity. Now, is it gaming versus reading or gaming and reading? Why not both? Okay. Like you said, that it has taken over the world. And let's face it, we have, in this past 2 years, we have seen a huge, massive, change in the way we are looking at school education, how we connect with each other, how we collaborate, how we are team people, and so on and so forth. Gaming is one of the ways. Now, I think there are children who play with other children from around the world in this, with the PlayStations and Nintendos. I'm sorry, I'm not very current with the kind of games they play. I'm not very familiar with the terms, but I have seen the effect of it on children. It becomes bad or wrong, both of it. Reading and this becomes bad or wrong when it is an addiction and when children kind of cut off from the rest of the world, and it affects behavior. And I have seen gaming affecting behavior of the children. Let me forget about cognition as well as school performance, but let me talk about behavior. And we are more worried about the addiction to the game and the behavioral changes that result from it: sleeplessness, fatigue, lack of focus, attention deficit, misbehavior at home, sometimes even adopting wrong methods at home too. I think, yeah, my 3 minutes are done. Sorry. So I'm talking about addiction. Done. Okay. Thank you.
Ma'am. And I think you added a very balanced view to the discussion, that let's not keep the ors there, replace it with ands. Gaming and reading can go hand in hand. Cognition and school performance go hand in hand. And that's the middle ground, I think, that that you as a school leader have found out for students, that keep doing both of them, but find a balance and don't get aggressive with any one of them, or don't get addicted to any one of them. Thank you so much, ma'am. Let me invite the next school leader for today's talk. A very warm welcome, Mr. Adarsh Kavugal, the CEO for Asoka World School from Kochi, Kerala. Adarsh, sir, over to you for the next 3 minutes. A very warm welcome.
Good evening, Daksh. Good evening, everyone. All very serious school leaders, and especially the kids over here. I'm sure I can't finish this in 3 minutes, so 10 or 20 seconds before, please show your hand and I'll stop. See, So one of the things that I've noticed is that right now schools are really interested in adopting technology, but most of the time they themselves do not know, what is technology and how much of technology can we actually absorb and how much we should actually keep it aside. Now you take children and gaming. I actually view this very negatively. I might be one of the youngest school leaders here, but I see it very negatively because I've seen suicidal tendencies as part of multiple schools. We have had police, we have had a lot of law enforcement agencies coming and speaking to us about getting children to actually, showing antisocial behaviors, etc., etc. And there is a parental issue also here, because the parent finds it very easy to just give the cell phone or just give them their game time and just get out of their space, and they can get on with their own lives. This is also creating a lot of issues over here. So gaming, our understanding of gaming, that is the Indian society's understanding of gaming, needs to change. It is not something fun a child plays. I'll give you even an example. I think what Uma ma'am has said is absolutely correct. I know an example where a eighth standard-year-old child in a neighboring school was connected to a convicted felon in America playing Minecraft. And the mother and the father did not even know about this. So when you play multiplayer, national games, there isn't even much the cops can do about many things. So this is a very serious issue, and if you do not take it seriously, it is going to affect this whole generation and the generation coming after. Now let's actually, another thing with regards to technology and knowledge. One of the things I keep saying is a child in the 1990s might know a smaller number of topics, but might know it better than a child today, a similar age child today. That child might actually know a lot more topics, but there is not much depth. It's mostly because we're learning everything in a Twitter, 250 characters. So I do not know how much technology is actually helping us when you look at it that way. So in my school, I'm fascinated that you actually told, spoke about this. Yeah, I'll stop. Go right ahead.
Thank you so much, Adarsh sir. And I think you added quite a valid point, because till now, but when we are talking of the negative aspect of gaming, we were only talking of our perceptions. We were not talking of things that are really happening around us. Because when we get into a discussion of this sort, the biggest problem is we start with our prejudice. We do not start with some empirical evidence or some thoughts or some facts that have come from the society. Normally, these discussions initiate from prejudice, and they finally get concluded into, again, an opinion, not into something that can be implemented in life. So I think where you started from was how much of tech can we actually absorb? Because the people who are taking the decisions for these technology products within the schools are not technology natives. The school leaders, the teachers, they're the people who are being introduced to it. And when you introduce somebody to a small little knife, you never tell them that that small little knife can also hijack a plane. So this is the problem. The tool that we are handling, we have just been introduced to it, and it's quite risky, as you quoted some of the examples that are coming out of it. And most importantly, when we think of the society, we always believe that policing could play a very important role. If something bad happens, there might be some degree of control over it. But the problem with this virtual world is the law enforcement cannot do anything if something goes wrong. So this is where the actual gravity of the issue comes in, because whatever we have set up as a society does not work in this arena. So thank you so much, Adarsh sir. Let me invite the next speaker for today. Before I invite the next speaker, in each of these web talks, we try to get in as much geographical variety as possible, so that this does not become only a talk of the high-end schools or the low-end schools. It always has to find a balance in somewhere in the middle. So the next school leader comes in from a tier 2 or tier 3 town. What is their opinion on gaming versus reading, and what is happening in their ecosystem or the students around them? A very warm welcome, Mr. Kadali Masen Rao, the principal of Sunrise English School from Parli, Vaijnath, Beed district in Maharashtra. Masen ji, over to you for the next 3 minutes. Please unmute yourself. अंग्रेजी या हिंदी में से कोई भी भाषा आप इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं. बस अपने आप को आप अनम्यूट कर लीजिए. अभी आप म्यूट पर हैं.
Okay, all of you are to good evening to one and all. And are you able to listen, everyone? My words. Okay. So actually, in the topic only some confusion, some sort of confusion is there. What is that means? Gaming versus reading. That means gaming means you all are talking about video games only. But gaming means sports also will come now. What about the sports then? Physical exercise, about the physical exercise, and if any student who are playing in the ground, automatically their mind power is great, and they automatically they are having so much of concentration. Actually, the power of concentration is going to increase when they are playing games, normal games. When coming to video games, okay, I will agree with what the others said, other teachers or principals said, I will agree with them. But you have to mention when you are giving the topic, organizers, please listen once again. Next time, don't do this type of mistake, because I prepared actually for that one. Gaming means automatically games are going to allow, because of that study is going to improve from the student. When the concentration is increases, automatically his study is going to increase. Then automatically when the study is going to increase properly, and the name of the school also is going to increase. So when cognition, so automatically when the student is getting knowledge more and more, every student means automatically the name of the school also going to increase, and every parent is going to join their son or daughter in the same school only. That's why the difference. So here in the topic only, actually one thing I want to say especially. So cognition or school performance, both are interdependent, cognition and school performance, because when the cognition is increases, automatically school performance also is going to increase. And here gaming and reading, gaming versus reading means when the, okay, not computer games, actually when a boy is going to play in the ground, automatically his concentration is going to increase because of the mindset, because of the open ground playing or anything, his concentration is going to increase. By that, his body also is become an exercised body and fit automatically. Then his knowledge is going to improve. That based on the name of the school also going to increase. So
Thank you so much, Masen sir. The 3 minutes were over. I think this is the magic of language. भाषा यही करती है कि जब आप उसे शुरू करते हैं तो वो भाषा होती है, फिर धीरे धीरे वो एवल्यूट करती है और भाषा का अपभ्रंश हो जाता है, जिसको हम अंग्रेजी में कहते हैं colloquialization of language, when it turns into colloquial language, because gaming for all of us is absolutely online gaming. Sports का aspect उसमें अब शायद हमारी terminology से ही बाहर हो चुका है. So thank you so much, Masen ji. Let me invite the next speaker for today, Ms. Kajal Chatijada, Executive Director for Gayatri Group of Schools from Pune, Maharashtra. Kajal ji, over to you for the next 3 minutes. Please unmute yourself and a very warm welcome.
Yeah, first of all, good evening, everyone. Am I audible? Thumbs up? Yes. So I'm really overwhelmed and I'm really enjoying this, topic, and which I keep watching my students all over. And by the way, I'm mother of 2 young kids. One is doing BBA and the other one is in 11th standard. So I have watched them growing with games. And yes, if we compare reading with gamification, and this gamification is something has picked up during the COVID situation, where now I have seen the content makers, the publishers, they are converting the subjects in a gamified versions, which we are checking it out. And let's understand, what students want from us and how they want to study. Over here, I would like to bring and discuss a latest UK's National Literacy Trust. It was linked through a video game, and how this survey was done. So through that survey, it was checked that 79% of the young people who play video games also read material related to the medium. And this includes in-game communications. For 40% of respondents review that they are also doing it, busy in blogging, and but wherein the book which was considered like how many young youth is involved in reading, which was only 22%. So I have also seen my boys discussing what type of games do they play. This is always a hot topic, which always they, and through this survey we got to know that 73% of the young generation did discuss games over or versus, you can say, which book they are reading. So we really need to, as educators, and we are going to cater to Generation Z, we really need to upgrade ourselves. We need to understand what's the need of the hour and change. We have to change with the change. And because of this COVID, when we were in the COVID situation, we realized we are in 21st century. After 20 years, we realized we are in the 21st century where we entered in millennium, right? So all thanks to COVID situation where our students are getting a lot of exposure. And yes, I connect with one gentleman who said where he noticed that students are associated with these types of games to the neighboring countries and how they are flourishing. Yes, I saw your hand. So the only thing is like now we need to change. This is what my personal, I'm being very honest, I'm not so good in gaming. I'm good in reading. So we need to upgrade. Yes.
Thank you so much, Kajal ji. Yes, आपने एक National Literacy Trust UK का कोई एक research quote किया जिसके अंदर 79% young gamers जो हैं, they're also reading content or collateral material with it. So which actually gives us a reason that yes, they're reading, but they're reading different content. It's not necessary that they read a paper, but yes, they're reading on screen. So when it's gaming, at that end as well, there is some reading happening. So let's now once again bring in a student to add a little twist to the discussion that what's their opinion on gaming versus reading. A very warm welcome is Pratiksha Joshi from class 12 of Appa Public School from Kalaburgi, Karnataka. Pratiksha, over to you for the next 3 minutes. A very warm welcome. Please start your video.
Yeah. Am I audible, sir? Yeah. So good evening, all. I'm a grade 12 student. So since the past 2 years, we have been in this situation of pandemic, and a major part of this pandemic was lockdown in most of the countries, including India. And I just wrote my board exams, 10th boards, when the lockdown just began. So I had a lot of time to spend, and nerds like me find books very interesting. So I had a lot of time to spend with my books. But at the same time, parallelly, there was this trend of gaming going on to high levels. There were many teenagers and youngsters who were, they started gaming. And now it has reached to an extent wherein people are earning by gaming. There are YouTubers who are streaming their live gaming sessions. So it has become a source of income also. But I also believe that gaming is good for free time. And it does help us to focus. But as a person who loves to read, I have my own set of reasons why I find reading better than any other, free time activity or hobby. So these are just my personal opinions as well as experiences. And the first reason why I find reading better is because it gives us mental peace. And, reading is a pleasure in itself. But once we start to become a gamer, we start gaming, there is this urge that I need to play every day, I need to win every match, and this starts irritating us, and there is a disturbed mind, which in turn affects our study for sure. And there are no bullet sounds, or you don't have to swear your partner while reading, and you don't get targets for which you'll get bonus. And what I feel is once you start to become a gamer, you're taken aback from reality. There is this pressure on your ears, eyes, and brain, which affects your health. But What is reading? Reading is just a hot cup of coffee, a warm and cozy place to sit, along with lots of time where you can actually build many of your skills parallelly. So as a reader, I've loved reading books, be it the English textbooks which they gave us at schools, or be it novels or any factual books. So I've seen your hand, just 30 seconds more. I feel that it helps you to build your vocabulary skills, speaking and writing skills, and it gets you closer to the literature, as I've taken closer by reading, and also it increases your knowledge and intellect. I just want to add up that dinosaurs did not read, so look what happened to them. Let's just start reading. Happy reading.
Thank you so much, Pratiksha. And yes, dinosaurs never read and they're not there. So let's take a lesson from that only, that we don't want to get extinct. So start reading in any format, wherever you are reading, whether you're reading a blog or reading something, but keep reading. Don't, lose it. I think she added 2 or 3 very important points. One, economics has now, shaken hands with gaming. There's some earning happening from gaming, either, by uploading your YouTube videos or winning some of the other sort of awards or incentives within that gaming platforms. When this happens, this typically is a solidification or proof of the pudding that what's happening is going to stay. It's going nowhere. So when it's going nowhere, what are you going to do to deal it within the classroom? This is a question that again comes in to the next school leaders who are going to speak next. Second, it's a good free time activity. Reading does not involve guns and it does not involve swearing, because these are the 2 most important things which are creating a lot of negative impact, because most of the games rely on the aggression that we have. They're giving us typically an outlet of our aggression. And this is where the antisocial behavior that Adarshji was talking about, the kind of problems that children face, the kind of depression they face, is out of this. So these are the 2 aspects which actually should be taken ahead in the discussion. Let me invite the next school leader, who's again the director of Pratiksha School herself. What does he have to say? Because when you have a student like this in your school, I am very sure you'll have somebody at the polar end of it with a completely different opinion on this. So what's your opinion on gaming versus reading? A very warm welcome, Mr. Viju Kalarajos, the Vice Principal for Appa Public School, Kalaburgi, Karnataka. Viju sir, over to you for the next 3 minutes. A very warm welcome.
Thank you, Dash. I actually congratulate Pratiksha for the valuable points she has put forward. Although dinosaurs did not read much, they also survived on Earth and lived as long as they could. Only the nature could find an end to it, not anybody from the nature itself. Well, if I go back to a class and ask the students whether they want to go for gaming or reading, most of them until grade 10 would say, okay, let's go for gaming rather than reading. But then when we move on to grade 12 and the more serious students who are engaged in more serious studies, they would have a choice to make. I think most of them, many of them would choose for reading. But then what we find today is not gaming versus reading, but how the concept of gaming can be used as a methodology of teaching and learning in the class. Even CBSE board has come up with the methodology of gamification. So we are more into games, but how best we can use the concept of games in teaching and learning, the content, how can the content be best delivered in the classrooms, in a classroom situation using the concept of games, and that is connected with emotion, all other neuro sciences. Because emotion, visual impact, all these when added to methodologies, it has greater impact in the learning and retention. So to say gaming is not a foreign concept for learning. Therefore, let's mix together and go ahead so that learning is maximized. And CBSE also comes out with 21st century skills, which is also very closely related to gamification. Because the fluid intelligence that we have got is about creative intelligence, problem solving skills, and quick solutions, quick processing, quick and thought-provoking understanding of the concept. All these are related to fluid intelligence, while reading is much more reflective and crystallized learning, which cannot be overruled by gamification or the fluid intelligence. So we in fact need to find a balance between the fluid intelligence and crystallized intelligence, because as we age, go on progression in age, what we have is crystallized learning, crystallized knowledge, which actually keep us much more oriented towards a deeper understanding of the problems around us than the quick solution, which is only in the outward. We cannot have a quick solution for the problems between Israel and Palestine. We need to have a deeper understanding of the problem. So we need crystallized knowledge as well. So to say, gaming can be best utilized, gamification, the concept of gamification can be best utilized for crystallized knowledge. And therefore, let us, as ma'am said, Ms. Uma said, cognition strengthened by gamification. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Viju, sir. And yes, crystallized and fluid knowledge, we need a balance of it. You cannot typically only rely on fluid intelligence when you need to deal with things that are far, far, far complex. And most importantly, humans have, as a race, evoluted because of crystallized knowledge that we had, the kind of history that we wrote, the kind of remembrance that we had of whatever happened in the past, because that's where our repository of knowledge was, and that's where we grow out from. But I think this is the next phase of human evolution, where fluid intelligence becomes even more important. Now, we have listened to all the speakers for once. Now it's an open floor. If you forgot something, if you missed out onto any point, if you want to add something to it, this is your time to do it. You can just raise your hand and I invite you. But before I invite them, I have one question for one of the speakers. Others, sir, added the aspect of the negative impact that's happening of gaming in not only on the student, but that complete ecosystem around the student. So are our institutions, are our schools really that equipped that we can at least, if we cannot, handle the problem, can we at least do some positive persuasion? Or are we only in a position that we can criticize and we can't do anything with it?
Is that for me?
Yeah.
I think there's a lot we can do, so we did something, because I see this as a very serious problem, which is why I selected the topic. What we did is we started in our school last Saturday. And see, the idea behind the collective was to actually bring kids from all over to our school in the community nearby. So we spoke with the Residents Association, we got all the parents, everyone around, and we got the police also involved. We also got, community leaders involved. So the idea of Kalitat is to actually promote the library. So I was looking at my library. I have a 3,000 square feet library with more than 5,000 books, and nobody was using it. Not even my students, nobody was using it. So I wanted to do something about it. So I took all the tables and the chairs out of the room and put all bean bags and made it an air conditioned, completely changed the way the library looked, and made it very child friendly. And we actually told the parents, on Saturdays, where you actually let children play video game, because they give them free fire and they're earning money, there's lots of things. So there's tremendous pressure on the parents by the students, by the kids, to let them play. So we told them, let the child come over here. We have 3 staff, they will take care of the children. We will give them something to read and start the ball rolling. So we just started last week. We'll see how it goes. And the parents have to put a little bit of pressure on children. When I say pressure, I don't know whether that is the right word, but see, they are children and you are there to, guide them. But if you do not guide them, and the best way that you feel is just give them a cell phone and go play, then then I don't think you're fit to be a parent. I know I might be coming off a little harsh, but this is an issue that we are facing. And again, I think in Kerala, we have had around 180 children committing suicide. And most of the cases are from gaming. There was a child who actually committed suicide because the mother did not recharge for 200 rupees. So this has become a serious issue. And I think while we are speaking over here, Gaming is where children actually play for entertainment. Gamification is something that we as educators and children can use to learn. So, if you can differentiate between those two things, getting it. But as far as I'm gamification,
I think there was some internet challenge that was happening. So I think Adarsh added a couple of important points to the discussion. And I think a very nice idea that convert your library space into a more gamified space for children so that they can get engaged. I think Uma ma'am wanted to say something. Ma'am, over to you. Please unmute yourself.
I think one of the points Mr. Adarsh was making was the difference between gaming and gamification. I think that has to be clarified over here. Gaming is the act of actually playing the game. And I want to also add what Mr. Masin said, that earlier on in history, gaming was all the games that you played basically. And now gaming is totally into the computer and, mobile related games, right? So that is also correct in a sense, what Mr. Masin said. And in those days, that was a physical activity. And if you remember, there were many, many sports people who came out of just sheer craziness of just wanting to play. And they, like Sachin Tendulkar is one of our biggest examples. He was mad about, let's call it gaming, and it just happened to be cricket, right? Then we come to gamification. Gamification is converting some concepts into something that is creative, and the child uses, or it is converted into what you call whatever is the concept that is converted into. There is a storyline, there is some sort of thing that you have to win, and then you play with others. That is a concept that can be used by teachers and school leaders to explain other things. So I want it to be, I want that clear definition between difference between gaming and gamification. Okay. Then it comes to, I just want to go back to that point of addiction. When I say addiction, I don't mean Mr. Adarsh has given such examples, and it is the absolute stark truth of the world today. And we are not, and Daksh, you always said sab log negative bol rahe. It is not negative. It is what we are actually experiencing as school heads, at what is happening in our among our children. When the online classes were going on, and I was taking up an English topic with one class, and there was this child who was, he was twitching. Literally, he was twitching, and I could see his shoulder going this way, that way, and all that. And I said, okay, what happened, beta? Why? And he was answering my question, yet I could make out he was elsewhere. While he was attending the class, he was playing the game. And with the twitch of his shoulders, I could make out that he was on some sort of, on another device, attending the class and playing. Now I have the parents who come back and tell me that he is so rude at home, he is so angry, he is so violent, he is unable to, I think my internet connection is a problem, no? He's so violent and his behavior is so bad, we just don't know what to do with him. So like you have a library area that you have started, Mr. Adarsh, thank you for sharing that wonderful, wonderful idea, which I'm going to try and implement in January because now I'm busy. So similarly, I have started an open forum with the parents. Come and talk to us whenever you feel like it. Let us see how we can help you to deal with your child. We are not going to the child right now. We're going to the parents. And I think that's where the healing will happen. So forget about, cognition, school performance, gaming versus reading. All of it is absolutely interrelated. What we need to figure out is how we can get a good match between all of these concepts together and give the best to the child at any given point. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Uma ma'am. And yes, Adarsh ji had said the right context that if you can gamify the space that you have available with you, can you gamify your own library? Can you make it so attractive that somebody wants to come and sit there and read something or consume some sort of content? This is where things will start. And yes, the difference between gaming and gamification is very important. When you incentivize something that is going to create a positive outcome, I think that incentive is good enough. But when you incentivize something where the final outcome is negative, which is, majorly happening in gaming. This is where you seed addiction. What you do it on purpose. Your intent is to seed some or the other form of aggression or addiction in the future. So Tania ji comes from a marketing background. You come from an organization that's into finance. Now, a very specific question to you. Whenever we talk to any marketer, the only thing that the marketer is concerned with is eyeballs. If you are getting the eyeballs, everything is fair and fine. Everything is good, fair in love and war. That's the kind of definition that comes in. So what's your, as an individual, not as an organizational stand, because that will put you in a bad spot. So I don't want to do that. But very simply, as an individual, when you look at marketing, are we still in a zone where we are ready to follow some of the other form of ethics, or it has actually been hampered by the kind of targets that we have? Over to you.
So from my point of view, the fact of the matter is that 75 to 80% of the teenagers are into gaming. Whether we like it or not, they are into gaming. The problem now is that how do we control it? How do we monitor it or make the most out of it? Like Ruchita, the student had said that every gaming portal also has certain achievements, has certain sessions after which they have this addiction to go and do it more, to attend more sessions, to do more challenges. The same thing maybe can be implemented in a way that it improves their school performance or their cognition. There, in fact, is also a game called Variant Limits, if you can check this anywhere, which teaches calculus in the same format like PUBG or Call of Duty, all these formats, the same formats, but it teaches calculus. And the classrooms that had adopted this game saw 10% increase in the grades in a year. That was a direct correlation to the grades of a student. So I would not agree to the fact that gaming should not be done. It is being done. We can't help it. It's just making the most out of it that needs to be focused on. That is my point.
You're focusing on the curation, that how do we curate it? How do we monitor it? How do we police it? Because these are the most critical. The problem with gaming is that policing or monitoring at this point of time is nearly impossible. The only thing that you can rely on is either the student's wisdom or their parents' strictness that he might not get an access to a device. But since we are all learning online, the access to a device is now unlimited. So this is a big challenge that is being faced by the complete education ecosystem. I think Pratiksha wants to say something. Pratiksha, over to you. You can unmute yourself.
Yeah, thank you, sir. I just wanted to add a fact that, the atmosphere in which we stay, it impacts the way we behave with people. Like, let me take the example from my own home. I am a grade 12 student. So basically, I'm always with these formulas, reactions, biological names and all. Whereas I have my little brother who is in class 8. He is... he is fond of games, as many of the kids do these days. So there is a difference in the language we both use. So usually there was a day when I was not in the normal mood I have. So my mom came and asked, what's wrong? So I replied, there is high entropy in my head. I'll talk to you later. So I spoke in terms of chemistry. But when I speak with my brother, he's always speaking in terms of guns. That person is hiding there, will shoot him out. So this is how it goes. So if we tell that gaming is good, yes, it is good only when it is done in a limit. But trust me, such things which are meant for entertainment have got no limits of distraction these days. Once we start using it, we get addicted to it and we stick on to it until something great happens that we need to stop using it. So according to me, gaming is not necessary right now, at least while we are in the school. Later on, maybe we can do better in gaming and maybe we can become good YouTube streamers and start earning from it. But right now for students, it is not necessary because it will end up affecting your studies. And there is also this trend in games wherein kids make levels for each game, like this is the best, this is of low quality or something. I've seen many of my friends, like obviously there are boys who are interested in gaming. So wherein they compare the games, and if a particular guy plays some game which is not of that high standard or that difficulty level, they are like, okay, you are not a gamer because you don't play to that level or that game which we play. So this kind of, division happens between the kids themselves, because as I'm close to many of the gamers, I know how it goes in that circle. So this is the inner view, what happens inside the circle. So gaming is not necessary right now is what I feel. And ma'am said that addiction, yes, it is addictive, so let's avoid it for now. And reading also does help a lot, as I said. So this was what I wanted to add.
Thank you so much, Pratiksha. I think you gave us the insider's edge. This was the kind of content that we would not have got from any school leader or teacher, because this is actually something that comes from the horse's mouth, because they are the people who are around them. They see their terminology, they see their behavior, and they're doing that daily, everyday communication and that transaction. And I think when a teenager in class 12 understands this, I think their peers would some or the other day also get into that zone of realization. But the challenge is, if they realize that too late, the damage would already have been done. I think Adarsh wanted to add something, sir. Over to you.
I think Pratiksha, I think there was a wonderful thing that she said. She's very perceptive. She understands. She's very mature. That's really nice to see. See, one thing that all of us educational leaders, we have to understand is the whole idea of game is to get you addicted. Right? So the idea is to make you keep on it. So everything that they do, everything, all colors or the designs or the gameplay, as they call it, all of that is actually made to make sure the child is addicted to it. So there is, I'm usually a positive person, but today I'm all negative because I really do not know how to actually positively talk about this. So there is financial transactions happening inside the game. There are children, like she said, that there is the gamer levels. Forget that, but the financial transaction. One child that I know is actually getting around 20,000 rupees per month by playing games, and he's only in 8th standard. So look at that amount, and he's playing Free Fire. So with that amount, he has a YouTube streaming also. What do you think will happen to a child if the child gets 20,000 rupees in 8th standard per month? So these are the realities of this. And so the more I talk with law enforcement, more I get to learn about what else is happening in other schools. I'm also part of the school association here, and I get to hear so many stories like this. I simply do not know what to actually talk positively about this. So unless and until the schools, first and foremost, the schools have to understand that they have to be very clear on how they educate the parents, because the parents do not have anybody else to educate them. It is us, it is on us. So if we are to educate them, for example, a parent do not know about age ratings on a video game. You have somebody playing GTA, which is where you can actually mow down people. There's even a rape that you can actually do in it. It's quite famous, the whole game. We have 12-year-olds and 8-year-olds playing the game because the parent does not know. The parent just views the game as a game. But there are adult games, there are 16+ games, there are 13+ games, there are general games. So just like a book, which is age specific, it is there for gaming also. So who is going to tell the parent? See, the future parents might be slightly better, but the parents of current generation, they do not know. So it is up to us. We have to devise a strategy on handling this. Gamification of education is a brilliant concept. It works. However, you can get the focus of children, however, you can trick them to learn, great, and we should go ahead with it. But gaming as such, and my final note, I think I'm taking too much time. A child plays 70 minutes on an average per day. 70 minutes on an average. That is how much they spend on games. You can imagine if that is the average, what are the extreme cases? Yeah, thank you so much. I'm really sorry for taking too much time.
Thank you so much, Adarshi. I think you made two very grave pictures. The first one, when the student gets something like 20,000 rupees every month, that gives him absolute financial independence, which is not supposed to be there with any student at any point of his lifetime, because you need some or the other kind of barrier to his entering into the wrong spaces. And when you give him financial independence, that becomes a big challenge. And second thing that you talked about, that parents are not aware that which game is meant for which age group, and educating them is in itself a very big task, because the problem right now with the community that we all deal with is that we have major trust issues within the family, within organizations, within the community, and within the society. So when you want to educate, everyone is looking for that vested interest somewhere that he's not able to find out. So that's the big challenge that actually comes in. Tanya ji, I think one thing that actually comes out of this for your institution is start something on financial literacy, so that people understand that if there's money moving into the hand of the student, at least tell him not to use it for this. Pratiksha, I wanted to say something. We are nearly at the conclusion.
Sir, I want to say something.
Yes, Masen, please.
My video was disabled. Just visualize it. Okay. So all the gaming, what Pratiksha madam is saying, that gaming is not good at all for the students actually. So then why the CBS schools are running that much of perfectly? So CBS schools, what is the concept mainly? All-round development of the student. That is the main point. So gaming is also a part of all-round development only of the student. So games are going to conducted in the school. So if they are going after going to the home, they are playing video game, means that's not the responsibility of a teacher or a principal. Then I don't know why here all the principals are talking about the video gaming.
Thank you so much, Masen sir. Actually, the responsibility was not of the teacher, but actually that game came into the classroom and that became a challenge. Thank you so much, everyone. So before this talk actually comes to an end, what we thought at Blub World was the only way that you can, engage a student in a better or a positive way was to give him some positive benchmarks in life. If he has something to look up to, if he has gamers to look up to, he'll be gaming. If he has people who are doing all sorts of things that are not expected to be done, they'll only do that. Every teenager, every student wants to be an adult as quickly as possible, and every adult wants to be a teenager as quickly as possible. And both of these things actually hamper growth, development, understanding, and the complete community spirit. So we now need to understand and find out more ways of how can we tell them what we need to tell them without being didactic. Because once you become didactic, or once you try to become a teacher or you try to teach, the content does not transfer. It gets stopped because of some or the other prejudice that we already have. So that's where we started our work. We thought, let's collect stories of teens who are doing amazingly well in life and share their stories with many more teens. So I'm going to share one such story for all of you today before this call comes to an end. This story is of a teenager who lives in the US. As of now, is a millionaire. Her mother used to make candy at home. She felt that this was something good, and she also took the passion in making candy. And over a course of time, that little lady, who is still a teenager, became one of the biggest candy enterprises that has supplies across one of the biggest Walmart chains across the US. And we call her the Candypreneur. And that's Elena Morse. That's on the cover page of Blub World just some months back, because we only thought the only way to do this was to tell them that there were teenagers who were doing far better things. And that's where we started doing this, collecting stories every month of teens who were doing well. And the next step that we took was to build the world's biggest and the first parliament of teenagers. Let's bring them together, give them a platform where they can voice their opinions, because I think then it might at least take their attention off everything negative for a small little point of time. Thank you so much, all the school leaders and all the speakers today for being here with us, sharing your opinions and ideas. I hope there's some positive impact that comes out of it. Thank you so much, everyone. This was the Blubber Web Talks 177th episode. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, and if you want to attend the future sessions, you can open your audio, say a big yes. Thank you so much for being here with us. Namaste. Have an amazing evening ahead.
Thank you, Daksh.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Daksh. Very nice meeting
Thank
all
you.
of you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.